quarter to 5 here in London. Let's have a look at the main moves in the market for the day. So if we start with the currencies, so let me bring up the euro chart here. So euro still trending lower for the day, trading at around the pivot level at the open, managed to break below the low of yesterday, as you can see here. Managed to break below the S1 level of the day at 118. Made printing new low for the session at around the 117.71 level, and now we're just trading at S1 level of the day. So the euro still under some pressure following the renewed political uncertainty across Europe. So you had the German election over the weekend, and that was the worst result for Angela Merkel's party since the 1950s. So now she's got a former coalition, and on the other side you have also Macron, the French president, who's kind of waiting for her to form coalition to get her support and try to implement new regulation and new laws for the European area. And at the same time, third main driver of the price of the euro and the euro currency pair is the US dollar strength following the hawkish FOMC meeting that we had last week, and comments that Janet Yellen made earlier this week. If we have a look at the pound, so the pound, recently you didn't really have any new major developments regarding the Brexit negotiation, but then the pound trending lower, mainly related to the US dollar strength. So as I said, following the more hawkish tone from the FOMC. So the pound this morning managed to break below the S1 level of the day, tested the 113 psychological handle, and now we're just hanging around the S1 level of the day, 134.43. If we have a look at the safe haven, we just bring up the gold chart here. So that's gold for this week. The main green candle that you can see here was on Monday, when you had some comments from North Korean foreign ministers who said that they're not gonna hesitate to shoot any US warplane if needed. So typical risk off scenario here with the safe haven, so gold pushing to the upside. But since yesterday, let's say we didn't have any new news regarding North Korean situation, gold recovered this up move, and then also a bit of pressure gold following the different comments from Janet Yellen as well. Hawkish FOMC meeting means the safe haven push to the downside. So gold this morning up and around the 1300 handle, slowly moving to the downside, managed to break below the S1 level, and now we recover this move and we're just hanging around the S1 as well, 1288 level for the day. If we have a look at the equity market, so the S&P here, so the S&P this morning managed to take tested the high of yesterday, 25.01 and 1/4, and then this afternoon at the US cash open you had the break of the R1 level, break of previous high of the day, tested 25.05 and 1/4, which is the R2 level for today, and then came under some pressure. So one of the reasons is Donald Trump saying that 15%, so regarding the tax cuts in the US, he still prefers 15%, when you had in the release from the Trump administration talks about 20% or even more than that. So if Trump says that he's not happy with this kind of percentage, then that adds more certainty, because we don't have a set, let's say, deadline when they're going to start to implement the tax cut and everything, if they can't agree on their side for the percentage. So uncertainty, a bit of pressure on the equity market. And then final product for the day, You had oil, so today's Wednesday, you had the weekly DOE oil inventories coming out 3:30. If we have a look at the data, let me just have a look here. So crude was a bigger draw than yesterday. Yesterday API, so bigger draw than expected. So that's the first move that we see here. With positive move to the upside because bigger draw, that's bullish for the price of oil. And then you had confirmation of a large draw in Cushing and gasoline. And then distillate was a smaller draw than the one we had last night. So kind of a mixed report here. So a bit of choppiness in the oil price action. After that, we managed to break below the pivot level, tested the previous low of the day at 51.60, 63. Now we're back above the pivot level, so net oil just up 20 cents for the day. So you still have a main event later tonight. You have Donald Trump speaking at 8 o'clock regarding the tax plan. So we just have a look at CA6.
Comments in the chat if you need it.
So you had, oh yeah, okay. So you had the governor of the Bank of Canada saying that recent economic data point clearly to moderation in growth in second half of the year. So I'll just bring up the chart here.
And the comment above it as well.
And you had another comment where he said that, well, dovish comment, but he said no predetermined path for Canada interest rate, and the BOC won't be mechanical on rates. So some dovish comment here made by Bank of Canada Governor Polos. So you had this reaction here seen for the past 5 minutes. Guys, if we have a look at the calendar for tomorrow, let me just transition the screen. So don't forget 8 o'clock London time tonight, you have Donald Trump speaking. But then for tomorrow, this is the calendar for tomorrow, you have the inflation reading for Germany. So the way it comes is you have all the different states or regions of Germany that release their inflation rate. And then you have the aggregate coming at 1 o'clock for the whole country. But then the market is starting to price in, positioning itself since the morning when you had the inflation reading for all the different regions. So the 1 o'clock is just confirmation to something that we already know. So that's for Germany in the morning. And then in the afternoon you have some data for the US. So you have the CPI. No, sorry, you have the final GDP for Q2. And you have the PCE, core PCE for Q2 as well, but this is final reading. So obviously less important than the preliminary reading. And then, as it's been the case since the start of the week, you also have a lot of central bank speakers. So you have ECB Pratt in the morning, and then you have BOE governor, so Mark Carney, governor of the Bank of England, scheduled to speak at 9:15 London time. Then you have ECB Lautenschläger 12:10, and then in the afternoon, 2:45, you have Fed George, Stanley Fisher at 3, and then 6:30, you have Bostic, Fed speaker as well. Yeah, okay guys, that's it for the day. Hope you had a good day. Enjoy your evening, and I'll speak to you later.